Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2005 Infiniti Q45. Up front is a 4.5 liter V8 and down below is a 5-speed automatic transmission. Now I'm very excited to be driving this Q45 for a couple of reasons. First of all, I've never seen one of these, and that's because these cars are actually pretty rare. According to what I could find online, in 2005, Infiniti sold 1,129 of these cars. That was 15 years ago, so let's say maybe 100 of them are crashed or off the road. That's just around 1,000 of these things left for the entire country of the US. The other reason why I'm excited to drive the Q45 is that this car is actually packed with a bunch of technology that wasn't really standard practice back in 2005. And so we'll get into that when we talk about the interior. But let's get back to that 4.5 liter V8. Well, it makes 340 horsepower, 333 foot-pounds of torque, which is nothing to thumb your nose at. It's a powerful vehicle, 340 horsepower out of a naturally aspirated 4.5 liter. Get a little bit of audio here. It's very, very quiet. Even getting on it right there, the 4.5 liter whispers. It's not in your face. And I really like that. You know, I think this car is very subtle. It's that sort of, you know, mob mentality of that like sort of subtle, but it's still in your face. It's not subtle because it can't do anything. It's subtle because it can do so much. Like I said, paired to it is a 5-speed automatic transmission. Nothing really too crazy here. It's shifting when I want it to. I can plus minus it if that's something that I'd want. And actually, I'm in Pennsylvania right now, and with all the hills, downshifting to engine brake might be a good idea. Last but not least, the Q45 is rear-wheel drive. It is a rear-wheel drive V8 luxury sedan. So let's talk about the interior. We have tons to talk about in here. In front of me, I have a bunch of different gauges. On the left, I have my coolant temperature and fuel. Then I have my speedometer. Then I have my tachometer. I really like the setup here. I think it looks very crisp, very clean. It's very easy to read. It's nice and bright. It does look a little bit dated because this is sort of older. It's not pure white. It's this sort of green tinted white almost. Nevertheless, it looks fine. On the steering wheel on the left, I have my voice commands, nice for 2005, volume, track change, and mode. And on the right, I have my cruise control options. Now, what's interesting about the cruise control options is the fact that this car, back in 2002 when this car was introduced, came with radar cruise control. Radar cruise control in 2002. That is absolutely amazing. The reason I bought my 2019 Mazda is because it had radar cruise, which was introduced for the Mazda 3 almost 14 or 15 years later. Really, really cool. That's really, really special. And so in 2005, again, like I said, it was introduced in 02, but 05, radar cruise, that's really, really cool. To the left of me, I have my gauge dimmer switch, my traction control off, and then my suspension settings. So I can just leave it in normal, or I can actually stiffen up the dampers and put it into sport mode. So we'll do that now. It actually, you feel it a little bit. You feel it a little bit. It definitely feels a little bit tighter. It's not going to turn this car into a GT3 Porsche 911, but for a little bit more spirited driving, it's definitely nice to have that option. On the door, I have my memory seat options, very nice. And then I have my window switches, which say all auto at the bottom, as well as the driver's window button says auto. Kind of redundant here, but it is what it is. And then underneath the window switches, I actually have a trunk release button. Now, this is unlike any other trunk release button because the trunk is actually motorized. So at the hit of the button, the motor actually goes up. And then, thank you, owner James, for demonstrating, there's a button underneath the trunk lid. You hit that and it's motorized down as well. Very, very smart, very, very cool, especially, again, for 2005. Before we move on to the center, the Q45 has these vents all over the place, and I love the look of them because when they're closed, they're absolutely flush. And then when you open them, they work like normal vents, but I love the closed flush look. I don't think I've ever seen a car with this good looking of vents. They look so good when they close. They just look like these, you know, parallel bars, but then when you open them, they look great. The reason I bring that up is because moving into the center, we get 2 more of those vents on either side of the infotainment screen. The nice thing about the infotainment screen, I do have a backup camera. Very, very nice. Especially, again, for 2005, a nice backup camera. The quality's okay, but it does have the backup line, so you can kind of gauge yourself, which I do like. And then I do have navigation, but there's 15 years ago navigation. Your phone is going to be a lot better these days. Then in the center, I kind of have this sort of cluster muck of buttons. My heating and air conditioning controls are here. On the left side of the radio controls, I have my radio and navigation controls. So my route, zoom in, cancel voice, and then I have my little joystick in the center bottom for that center screen. Then I have my audio, passenger side climate controls. It's sort of all over the place, and I don't really like that. I can't say this is where my climate controls are and this is where my radio controls are. They're kind of all intertwined. So just for my OCD, I wish it was a little bit more categorized. What I do like is in the right-hand corner of the center stack, I do have the Infiniti logo, which is very, very nice. It's actually raised, it's polished, looks good. Down below all of those buttons, I do have a clock. Now, I love that Infiniti does this. They leave an analog clock. And the reason why I love analog clocks so much in cars is because you don't get them in all cars. No Toyota Corolla I've ever driven has had an analog clock. No base model Camry has an analog clock. And so whenever I get into a car and I see a nice analog clock like that, it looks like a wristwatch, I know that I'm in something special, and I know I'm not in the bottom of the barrel. This isn't a cheapo car. They spent the time to actually put the clock in. I like that a lot. Down below the clock, I have a CD player, 6-disc CD player, which is very, very nice, especially, you know, for the age. Then I have a pop-out ashtray with cigarette lighter. I love how smooth that moves. Very, very nice. Then I have the shifter itself. Nothing really too crazy or interesting here. It looks pretty much like every other Nissan shifter with a sort of bubble, park, reverse, neutral, and drive logos. It is what it is. However, to the right of that, I do have my heated seat options, which is very, very nice. And then I have my cup holders, again, smooth open like the ashtray and like the trunk. Everything's very, very smooth, and I like that a lot. Now, the seats are nice and comfortable. They're very, very comfortable, as you can see on camera. They have decent side bolsters, interestingly enough. They actually kind of hold me in when I get into the corners. Now, they're not, you know, Civic Type R bucket seats, but they're not park benches either. And I like that a lot. But before we talk about the back seats, just to finish out the interior, I do have a Bose audio system, 3 different Bose speakers across the top of the dash. I really, really like that. And I do have a sunroof, which is absolutely great. But now, let's talk about the back seats. All right, so we're in the back of the 2005 Infiniti Q45. Honestly, I don't get that many amenities back here. I do obviously have power windows. I have ashtrays in the door as well. Very Japanese luxury there. In the center, I do have a fold-down armrest, 2 cup holders, big storage container in here, which is really, really nice. But that's it. The seats back here are nice and comfortable, very, very comfortable, actually. It's that sort of thick Japanese foam that I've come to know and love from a lot of Japanese luxury vehicles. Very comfortable. I don't have heated seats back here or anything like that, although I do have a 12-volt outlet down here on the center console and 2 little vents as well. Overall, nothing really too crazy. However, it's still nice and comfortable. Oh, I totally forgot. Knee room is good. You know, my knees aren't hitting the front seat, and this seat is all the way back, actually. James drives with the seat all the way back. So my knees actually aren't hitting, even though the seat is all the way back. Headroom is good. I have maybe about 2 inches, maybe 1 inch above my head, and I'm 5'11". So any regular adult would be able to fit back here. Now we have to talk about the looks, and I'm kind of torn on the looks. I think it's nice and subtle, but I think that's also the downfall of the Q45. No one knows what this is. It kind of looks like an older Kia Rio from the front. And the back end definitely looks Infiniti, but it's still not super distinct. However, I like the fact that it's subtle, and not many people know what the heck they're looking at until you tell them. And you say, they're super rare. They came with a V8, they're rear wheel drive. One very noticeable characteristic of the exterior is the headlights. The headlights have a Gatling gun styled driving light and a bunch of other lights and reflectors within the light. Now the Gatling gun gets a lot of attention from Infiniti owners. They try to retrofit them into other Infinitis. And so if you see that in other Infinitis, that actually came from the Q45. I'm very curious to see how this video will do because I don't know how many people know what this car was. Please leave a comment if you knew what this car was before or if you're just learning what this car is. Because I don't think, well, pause, hold on. We're in Pennsylvania. Look at this view. That's nice. Getting back to it, this car is a fantastic car. For the price that James paid for it, this is a great daily. It's solid. It's an Infiniti, which is really a Nissan, which will be reliable. The 4.5 liter makes great power. It's comfortable. It's quiet. It has the nice audio system, the backup camera, the radar cruise. It's overall a great car, just no one knows about it. And no one really takes the time to learn about it. And so unfortunately, this is the Infiniti that everyone forgot about. As James, the owner, was telling me, which I keep saying, thank you, James, so much for letting me take your car out. As James was telling me, there's no forum posts. There's no fan clubs. There's no Q45 owners club, which is a shame. I really think if this car was marketed properly back in the day, it would have sold a lot more. Had they made it compete with similar BMWs, Mercedes, Lexus products of the time, I think this car would have been a really big hit, but it wasn't. This is a one-hit wonder that didn't even get that one hit. It's just a wonder. It's smooth, it's elegant, powerful, but no one cares. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, huge thank you to James for letting me take out his Q45. I'm definitely glad I was able to get behind the wheel of it while I'm here in Pittsburgh. This is definitely something that I probably won't ever really experience again. These Q45s are few and far between, and they're not getting any more popular. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.